Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up.
All that jam. A lighthearted look at the weekend jam bands.
Where we break down the jam scene's biggest stories,
Talk new bands.
upcoming tours,
And show reviews. A little laughing, some hot takes, and an always positive message for the community.
Getting to know Melody Trucks.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Your dad did something called Roots Rock Revival, right?
Mhm.
You want to talk a little bit about how that started and how you're continuing that
A
tradition?
little bit. This is gonna be the rest of the podcast. Uh, so, Roots Rock Revival is a music masters camp that my dad started up in the Catskills with a group called the Music Masters Collective. It's held at a resort called the Full Moon Resort in Big Indian, and my dad started it, and it was his idea, but he brought in as the other founders O'Teal and then Luther and Cody Dickinson from North Mississippi All Stars. So those are the four founders, and he would bring in, and we still do bring in, all of these amazing musicians from our genre. We've had Bernard Purdy, we've had Bill Evans, we've had Johnny Vodakovich, we've had uh you know gosh, Nikki Glaspie comes every year. We've got
I love
Eric
Nikki.
Krasno, Amy Helm, Lamar Williams Jr., Junior Mack. I mean, I could go on and on. JoJo Herman, John Medeski, like JMO came a couple years. Like I could literally just keep going and going and going. And basically, what happens is during the day we give master classes. At night, there's at the beginning of the night there's an instructor or a master performance, like the ones giving the master classes. It's a different group of instructors every night. And then after that, there's places to jam all over the resort, and there's no line between us, quote unquote, us and them. We all make music together. We all find spaces of music with each other, and it doesn't matter who you are. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever been part of. I started going the year that he passed away, so I was actually never there with him, but I feel him everywhere there. And every year that I go, it changes my life every year. And one of the really cool things that's come out of it is my dad was unbelievably passionate about the younger generation of musicians. Um, I did a show not too long ago, and it was at a listening room. It was at Kennett Flash in Kennett Square. And I asked the audience, it's like, how many people here are under the age of 40? And one person raised their hand, just one. If we don't light a fire in the younger generation for the type of music that we love, it's going to go away. It's going to disappear. Um, so he loved tapping into those kids who got it, who really, really got it. Um, Taz is one of those. He was there at the first year. He's been every year, and he has transitioned from participant to he gives master classes now. There's this amazing guitarist. Her name is Lara Swass. She comes every year. She's unbelievably talented. We've got Hub Chasen, which was the guy who pulled me into that jam that night so I could sing with my dad for the first time.
Right.
There's Jaden Lehman. There's like all of these kids have been coming every single year, and every year more come. And so one of the things that my dad did was he was kind of the mobile ambassador for Roots Rock Revival. He would go to like School of Rock and other music schools and, give talks and do shows and just get people interested in Roots Rock. Well, I'm starting to do the same thing, but I'm also taking it a little bit further as I am taking some of these kids that are coming up through Roots Rock Revival and taking them on the road with me as my touring band.
Okay.
As of right now, it's been kind of static. We've got the Fitzkee Brothers are kind of my core. That's my rhythm section. It's Alex, he's 16, he's on drums, and Drew is 19, he's on bass. And then we've had this kid, Noah Gibney, he plays keys, he's 16, and I've had a couple of different guitarists. Jaden Lehman came, Hub Chasen came. And then before even that, last year I did, or the year before, I did a tour with Jaden and another bass player. And I also brought another Roots guy with me who his name is Ryan Gregg, and he's a keys player that kind of helps run some of the jams and that kind of stuff. So it's just been slowly evolving to where eventually I want to take a lot of different kids, and like if we're stopping in your town, come and jam with us or come for a couple shows with us and just give them the experience of being on the road playing, maybe some bigger venues that they could have, or they'll eventually get there, but I might get them there a little quicker. And so it's been a really beautiful experience to play with these kids because they're amazing.
Now, are these the people you've played with when you recently played the 8x10?
Yes.
Okay. Very nice. And are they local they're local to Maryland?
They're local to Delaware. They live in Lewis, Delaware. Mm-hmm.
How does that work? Do their parents come?
Well, yes. So,
it's like tournament softball. You got to bring your kid every weekend somewhere.
Yeah, so it kind of helps. Anyway, I have to have a parent if they're under 18, right?
Right.
And I think I was talking about this earlier. The Fitzkee Brothers' mom, like we've developed such a great relationship. She's actually become my agent. So not only does she go because her kids are on the road with me, but she's also part of my team. So it's just kind of blossomed into this really cool thing.
And you're going to have, so May 11th, you're playing Zen West in Baltimore. And then May 12th, you're playing JVs in Fall Church. And then the 13th, you're playing one of my favorite places to eat dinner in Ocean City, Maryland, Fager's Island. Get the French onion soup if you've never been there. My God,
I've never been there. Most of these places is my first time. So
it's so beautiful. Their motto is no charge for lousy sunsets.
Nice.
And every night when they do the sunset, they play Tchaikovsky and they shoot off confetti cannons over top of everyone. So cover your food if you're eating when they do that.
Okay.
It's a great little place though. So that's fantastic. You have that coming up. Mm-hmm. And then I guess, but before that in March, you're playing with the Lee Boys?
I am.
What's up with the Lee Boys?
They're family. Okay. So they played Wani for years. They're one of those bands that I've always just absolutely loved. Their energy on stage is ridiculous. I mean, just such an amazing group of people. And I say they're family, not just because they played at Wani, but they also played the reception at my little sister's wedding, which was so funny because it was at a country club in Palm Beach.
Right.
And we came and tore that place apart. It was great. Dad sat in with them. We had so much fun that night. So they've been family to me for years. And I think it was 2 years ago now. We've just been doing a few tours a year together, and having a great time. Uncle Al, we call him Funky Unky, is, he's one of my favorite people, and we just have so much fun together. So yeah, we're playing, we're playing at Terra Firmata on May 29th, or excuse me, March 29th.
March 29th, yeah.
And then we're doing a private festival, so I can't really tell you where that is or when. Right. Right. No. But the one that I can tell you about is Terra Firmata. So
when you're going and playing with the Lee Boys versus the Fitzkee Brothers versus what you did with the Melody Trucks Band, how do you choose what songs you're going to do?
There's a lot of overlap, but with the Lee Boys, I mean, you want to do things that are going to fit into that sacred steel gospel, like go to church kind of thing, you know?
Get yourself some God.
Yeah. Let God come in, man. Because, I mean, wow. It's so much fun. So, I mean, it just, you do what feels right for the group of musicians you got, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Do you feel like that there's a progression with your songwriting since when you first picked up a pen to where you are right now?
Yes. Yes. So Freight Train was the first song I ever wrote. Okay. Um, at least by myself. I had worked with West and Brady on Synchronicity before that. And I was like, we had a songwriting session. I was like, come on, let's dig in, right? And I was going straight for it. They're like, well, let's not get too heavy too quick. Let's write about something fun first, something, you know, that's not so personal. And that Synchronicity is actually like that morning I had forgotten that I had jury duty and I was freaked out about it. And the whole song was written around about the fact that I had missed jury duty and I was afraid I was going to get in trouble for it.
Bench warrant. We're coming for you.
Yep. So, and everything was fine. I called him and I just had to go another day. But yeah, so this new record that I'm digging into, it's more an autobiography. And so everything is going to be, and that's why it's taking me a little longer, is because I'm being very careful with my own emotions. I'm being very careful with how I word things and what I say about myself, and just what I'm willing to put out there to the world, while still being as genuine about who I am as I can. So there's been a lot of growth in that, a lot of progression because of that. So,
it's tough to walk that line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having your authentic voice, but also you have to protect yourself ultimately.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
The last time I had jury duty, I was supposed to go in May of 2020, and because they closed the court down, like all these people like filled out some form and sent it in, and they got 2 years later they got called back. But since I didn't say anything, they counted it as me having to go, even though the courts were closed. So
oh, no.
I've never heard back from them again. Thank God.
Yeah.
I guess it's your
That's
duty
awesome.
to do. It's your duty to do. All right. So are we what's the what is the timeline on the album? How far have you gotten? Have you laid down any tracks yet, or
not yet? No. I'm still kind of in the deep creative phase, but my my goal is to have it out before the end of the year. If my manager has anything to say about it, she wants me to have it out by the end of the year. So, and I do need to put some new music out. It's been too long.
Right now, what musicians are going to be on this? Who that you're working with, the Fitzkee Brothers, or is it?
Well, they're going to be part of it, yes. But my brother's definitely going to be on it. I have a lot of really amazing musicians that we all love working together. So it just, once the songs are done and the people that I feel are right for whichever track is what's going to happen. So it could be a steady band through the whole thing, or I haven't made those decisions yet.
Right.
But the Fitzkees will definitely be on at least a track or two.
Are you eyeing to try to release this through a label, or are you going to go on your own again and do it? Are you going to go on your own to release it? Or we haven't thought
right
that
now,
far?
I'm on my own.
Someone wants to scoop me up. Come scoop me up there, huh?
Yep.
We talked to some people, and they really, there's a guy, DJ Williams, out of Colorado, and he has flirted on the edge with other labels and things, and he decided, I'm just going to do it all on my own now, which is taking a huge weight on yourself. But
but I know DJ. He's great. Yes, we played together a few times. He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah, I love it. His new, have you heard the By Way of the RVA, his new one?
No, I'm gonna have to dig into that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very reminds me of like a Curtis Mayfield kind of vibe.
Nice.
That's 70s. Yeah, it's totally sick. So
I can
what
see
about
that.
what about you and Valor? Are you guys still
Valor.
playing together? You guys gonna record?
It's Valor.
Valor, my fault.
There's a Y in there. So Valor will definitely be on my album. Um, at least I hope he will. I haven't asked him yet, but I have a feeling he'll do it. Because he was on my first one. He
Right.
was, I don't know if you know, but he was the outro guitar solo on Freight Train.
Okay.
Now, we're not going to be recording anything that Brother and Sister does because we are not going to do it any better than our dad did.
Right.
So, and we are an Allman Brothers family tribute band that we play our father's music in tribute to him and his brothers of the road.
Right.
So, but in regards to other projects, absolutely. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. That's interesting. Now, is that a full band with you and your brother, or is it just okay? And who is in that with you?
So it's me and Valor. Willis Gore, who was a guitar player with the Melody Trucks Band. So he's the other guitarist. We've got Chris Dale on bass, Eric Sanders on drums, Ryan Gregg on keys.
Okay.
I think that's everybody. Yeah. And Garrett Dawson was our second drummer, and he has some other things that he's working on right now. So there may be times that he's with us and maybe times that he's not, but he was definitely part of the original idea of Brother and Sister.
Right. And that's when you play with that, do you try to gear that? Is that something that you try to play it more like a festival situation? Where do you find that it works best doing
it
the
works
Allman
pretty
Brothers?
well just about anywhere. We like doing, concert venues, theaters, festivals. We're not really a quote unquote bar band,
right?
But small concert venues, it's good too. So,
right. Now, do you find that your father's and his band's legacy it can be a hindrance to what you're doing?
No.
Okay.
Even if it could be viewed as a hindrance, no.
I didn't know if you got pigeonholed, if like people saw the name and were like, "Oh, she's Southern rock."
They could, but there's no way I could be anything but grateful for what they created and the path they laid down for all of us to walk. Not just me and my brother, not just the kids of the Allman Brothers, but everybody out there who's playing anything even remotely like what they did.
Right, widespread. Colonel Bruce. Colonel Bruce.
Well, Colonel Bruce was with them.
Right.
he was a trailblazer too. I can't say, he's walking behind them because he was right next to him.
Right.
There's so many, anybody that can consider themselves a jam band.
Right.
There were very few bands that actually created the jam band genre, and the Allman Brothers were one of them. So even if it quote unquote hinders me somehow,
right,
it's never a hindrance because I can't be anything but grateful.
Right.
They influenced so many lives. They made so many people's lives better.
Right.
So
many bands tried and just couldn't do it.
But
Leonard Skinner, or I don't want to. I'm not trying to trash anybody, but
no.
Leonard Skinner,
Leonard
Marshall
Skinner is their own beautiful entity all to themselves. They have their own sound. They blazed their own trail, and they did things that were monumental. It's like. And they are not in the same category as the Allman Brothers, and the Allman Brothers are not in the same category as Leonard Skinner. Right. They did their own things. It's everybody else who has always put them together. And it's because they're both from Jacksonville, and they both are kind of jam bands with heavy guitar. And, it's and I get the comparison, but when you try and put them in the same category, you do both of them a
The
disservice because
service,
they
right?
they blazed their own damn trails. They
Right.
really did, and they did it magnificently. So, but
Yes.
and that's one of the things that I think is really tough for a lot of musicians is comparison.
Right. Sure.
You know, it's like I get told I sound like this person or I sound like that person or I can hear this or it's like, yes, you're going to hear it because I've been hearing it since I was in my mother's womb.
Right.
Okay? It's part of who I am. Those chord changes, those key changes, the way that somebody sings a specific melody, it's in me.
Right.
And so when I create my own, those types of things are going it's like having a southern accent.
Right. It's second nature. It becomes
Right.
second nature.
You know,
Yes.
it's like having a dialect. It's just part of who you are. So I'm not going to say that, I'm not my father, I'm not going to
Right.
do that, but at the same time I'm my own person. And
Mm.
everybody out there who's making music, they're all their own people. And when we all start comparing each other to each other, it takes away from the art that's created
Right.
and the artist that created it. And so music to me is community. It's not competition.
Right. Yeah. I guess as someone who's not a musician, I always look for through lines. Would this guy influence this guy, which created this, which moved on to that? That's just
Mhm.
sometimes the way my brain tends to work there.
Right. So I just try and to, like I said, I just try to like each musician is somebody that I could have a communication with musically. And what they bring to me is, it's like we've got to be able to see each other as who we are and not try and put them in another box.
Right. Exactly. It's fair enough. Fair enough. I love it. Um, so what else? We've mentioned a few shows that you
Mhm.
got coming up and some things. Is there anything else that you want to throw out that you have on your radar that maybe wasn't on the website or?
Well, there's a lot of things in the works. Brother and Sister is going to be doing a tour probably in June. Um, and then we've got Road to Roots. Basically, we're going to be doing another Road to Roots right before Roots Rock Revival. So that'll be closing like at the end of July. And then Roots Rock Revival starts on July 29th, goes through August 2nd. Um, and then after that, Lord only knows what. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming up, so I'm really excited about it.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.